Welcome to another episode of our mini podcast, I Built a Company That Makes a Difference by B1. Here, we talk to founders of sustainable businesses to get their takes on how and why they started their companies and lessons learned along the way. Today, however, we're continuing in our special series, which is a little bit of a customer deep dive, and we're talking to Jamie Vares, who is based in Hawaii. I'm going to introduce her or have her introduce herself. But she's a sustainable shopper. She's a member of the B1 community. And what we want to do today is really get into the mindsets and motivation, what moves a consumer like Jamie and her demographic to buy consumer goods. So she is I'd say a sustainable shopper. I'll let her define how she talks about herself. But what we're really interested in is figuring out what folks like Jamie care about, what brands they look to, who they think is doing a good job, what turns them off, and what they'd like to say to brands in terms of getting more of their business. So, Jamie, welcome to our special episode, or one of our special episodes of the B1 podcast. Thank you so much for being here.
Aloha, mahalo. Thank you for having me. Um, it's really early in the morning here, so my throat's a little um, but yeah, thank you so much for doing this. This is amazing.
Yeah, can you start by just talking a little bit about yourself, who you are, where you live? We mentioned that you're on the one of the islands of Hawaii, but can you talk to us just a little bit about yourself?
So I'm born and raised in Hawaii. I am part Native Hawaiian. I'm a single mom. I'm a massage therapist at a high-end resort. I'm now 40 years old. So my oldest daughter is my oldest child. She's 20 at the end of this month, and my son is 16. Um, yeah, so that's me.
Wonderful. I am also 40 for a couple more months now, and my daughter is almost 3. So we're at opposite ends of the parenting spectrum, but we are the same age. So that's very cool.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's talk about sustainable shopping. Where would you say that you are on this sustainable shopping journey? Are you kind of at the beginning, putting your toes in the water, figuring what's out there, looking for some alternatives, or have you been doing this for a while? I know you grew up in Hawaii, and there is, from what I understand, I've never actually been there, but I've talked to a couple folks who live there, and there's a particular special way of looking at the environment and humans' interaction with the environment in Hawaii. Is that how you grew up?
Um, Pretty much. So like we kind of grew up already reusing Ziploc bags, even though we weren't supposed to, right? And I put air quotes around that. And like reusing glass jars. That's how we lived. So, kind of saving all that stuff. And then I'm not perfect on my sustainable journey, but I am always trying to look for new locally made zero waste sustainable products. The main thing for me is trying to find something that uses local locally grown products and things like that. But I understand it's an island. We can't be making like recycled shoes. We don't have a shoe factory here. So those sort of things, just like I'll shop online for, Um, but yeah, I've kind of been doing it for a while. It's been a slow growth because it can be a little expensive.
Sure. Is there area that you started focusing on? So it sounds like reuse, kind of recycle, was part of your childhood. As an adult consumer, is there a section of sustainability that you focused on more than others to start your journey?
Um, More of kitchenware, actually. It's really funny. I started looking for like more eco-friendly sponges. And then I used to shop at Bath and Body Works. And I realized how many plastic bottles I was using. I was like, oh my God. So I started going to the reusable store because I went, or the refill store. And I realized, like, oh my God, I can refill my hand soaps here. And then I realized how many things were there that I could refill like hand soaps, and I didn't even know there was a thing called dish blocks. So I went in and it was like, oh my God, this is hippie wonderland for me.
We actually have interviewed the founders of and the makers of Dishblock.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah, very, very cool. Very, very cool. I had the same realization not too long ago. When I looked at my shower, when I was first introduced to shampoo and bars and conditioner bars, and
Oh,
then I was like,
yeah.
"Oh, this is a cool concept." And then I went to my own shower and I saw how many plastic bottles I had, and I was like, "Oh my goodness!" So you started in the kitchen.
Yeah, I started in the kitchen. Um, dish soap and things like that. So there's a local brand called Kealia. They make dish soap blocks locally made. They also, I love their soaps, their body soaps. It's like my favorite. So they have, yeah, they have hibiscus, they have like a kukui one. It's so nice and it's locally sourced, right?
Nice. So, when you first started out your sustainability journey, what was the most shocking thing to you? So you mentioned price, like sometimes I'm just priced out of shopping sustainably because I can't afford the alternative or whatever it would be. What else just shocked you about, you said you walked into a refillery and it was like, holy cow, I didn't know all of these things. I could get all of these things on refill. What was the most shocking thing for you?
Um, how many, the shocking thing was how many products I've used all through my life that have had so much plastic plus harmful chemicals, right? And there weren't a lot of options for zero waste period care because I was like kind of
Oh,
looking
right.
every month, right? You're like, oh gosh, I'm throwing this away, but what are you gonna do? So I had to like do my research um and find alternatives. And now there's like a little bit more, but it's not so widely known. And when I tell people, like I'm pretty open because I'm a massage therapist.
Mhm,
Um, it's normal to talk about your body for us. So it's shocking how many people are not open to it.
mhm.
And then like even period underwear, I tell people about period underwear, but with how expensive it is, it's like, oh my gosh. And I bought some and it didn't last very long. So
Mm.
planned obsolescence is a huge thing for me, for that kind of thing.
Okay, that's really interesting. Okay.
And then
And
even, oh, sorry.
keep going. No, keep going.
And then even how a lot of our clothing and shoes go to landfills, even when we donate them, because I donate my clothes that I'm not going to use because I'm like, oh, it can go to a better cause. And then finding out that, it may not make it to the store. They may throw it away anyway.
I'm having this, oh, I don't, it's not even a realization because I know these things. It's more of it's a little bit of an internal turmoil with recycling in general. So donation of toys. I have a toddler, so we're donating toys a lot, clothes, and then just recycling in general, recycling and reusing in general. When I give it to somebody else or a shop or a consignment, whatever it is, how do I know that it's going to be used for this thing? And of course, we have all seen the documentaries, or at least the headlines about all of these donated clothes that end up in landfills anyway, in places like Chile or in different places in the African continent. And it's a thing that I'm really struggling with right now. Have you found a good way to really understand and where your donations are going when you give them?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm still struggling with that, honestly. Trying to figure out like what's the right way. So I'll hold on to certain things. I know um it's kind of almost like hoarder. It's borderline on hoarder because looking at where I can donate it and I'm like, well, is it really going to make it to the donation? So certain things, if I feel like they might throw this away, I might just look at an alternative to like, okay, well, maybe I'll just repurpose it into something else, like a tank top. I'll, sew up the bottom, make it into a bag, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. Any listeners out there who have any ideas for us, please write in and let us know. In the meantime, Jamie, how do you define sustainability or what do you look for as a consumer? What are some of the key factors when you're just doing your weekly shopping, whatever it is, grocery store, online, offline, whatever it is? What are some key factors or what goes through your mind when you're shopping? Is it like first you're thinking of, oh, what are the materials? Is there anything harmful in there? Oh, what is price? What are all the things that go through your mind if you could pull them out for us when you are trying to make sustainable purchasing decisions?
So I have like this little mini checklist in my head.
Oh, cool. Share
Um,
it, please.
yeah, so I look at it, is it a low to zero waste product? Like how much packaging are they using? Are they using plastic packaging? Because that's like a red flag for me.
Right.
Like, oh
Yeah.
no. Um, and then how earth friendly is that packaging if there's packaging at all? Um, Key factors are also, is it locally made? Is it recycled or is it recyclable? And how long is the planned obsolescence? What are the values of the company? Do they support Native Hawaiian values in some way? Um, yeah, that kind of thing.
That is a good checklist.
Yeah. And I do look at the price too. So with soaps and stuff, my max is like $10, right?
Okay.
Unless it's a gift for someone else.
Right.
Um, but like for clothes, like my favorite activewear brand is Kumana Activewear. And actually it's like $70 for pants, but that's how much it would be in a store for like Lululemon or something, right? So I mean, I'll buy like one pair of pants, like leggings to treat myself once I've done like my schooling or I've done something spectacular. It's like, yes, I've accomplished this thing. It's a reward for myself. And I take really good care of it because it costs a lot and it's helping the environment and it's really cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. But I talked with another shopper a while ago and we talked about treats and what's like permissible for your like a reward. I did something well, whatever. And she had yeah, a little bit similar. She wanted to make sure that her treats, it might be pricey because it's a treat or a reward, but it still fits in with her value set. I was thinking about my own treats, and I think all of my treats revolve very squarely around food. So I was this weekend looking at expanding my treats, my rewards for myself to like high-end sustainable natural skincare, which would be so fun. So there's tons of companies on B1 that I've been looking at for that. Um, all right, very, very cool. So that's a great checklist. I think I might we might pull this out as a little quote because that's a good checklist. Um, and in that same vein, what are some brands that you think are doing particularly well or doing things right that you feel so strongly that you would recommend right now for us and our listeners?
Oh, definitely Kalia and the Kumana activewear. I mean, absolutely. Because Kalia, they make plant-based soaps, shampoos, conditioners, the bars that you were talking about, they make
Hmm.
those. And it's
Hmm.
with local scents. I mean, I love it. And then Kumana activewear makes quality activewear. I put it on. I was surprised. I put it on and I was like, ooh, this is luxurious. Um, but she uses recycled and natural fibers. She's a Native Hawaiian mother. She tries to educate people on the damage of fast fashion, cheap clothing on the environment. She also supports local causes like support for victims of the Lahaina wildfire and endangered Native Hawaiian birds. I mean, she has a whole line out right now based on extinct or endangered Native Hawaiian birds. And some of those proceeds are going to help those endangered birds.
Nice. Okay. We might link those brands in the show notes then for everybody to see and click on and support.
Thank you.
So you mentioned that sometimes you just have to buy some things online. It's not practical. Not everything is, you are on an island. I'm in London. I'm on
Yeah.
an island as well. Some things you just cannot just run out and get locally. What are some of the things, or what are the kinds of things that you buy online versus in store?
So online would be more, I had to go get kitchen sponges made of like coconut fiber with cellulose. Cause like if I buy it here on island, it's $4 for one. And if
For a
I spend four
sponge? Oh,
dollars,
yeah, okay.
yeah, for a sponge, I'm like, $4 a week. Are you kidding me? Um, and then and of course my Kumana activewear because I can't always make her pop-ups because she doesn't have a brick and mortar store, which is great because then it's not taking up a whole bunch of space or anything. She sells it online. It's super convenient. It gets mailed to my house.
Hmm.
Um, and then sometimes I will order um like my soaps and stuff from the store. Um, if I can't make it out there. Because we used to have a refill store out here in on the west side, but it closed up recently.
Oh, that's too bad.
I know it was my favorite. It was called Keep It Simple Honolulu, but they've brought down their location, so it's just in town now, and so I have to go across the island.
Oh, dang. All right. Have you migrated away from something that you used to buy online to only buying it in person now?
Um, I was not really a huge online shopper. I was actually very wary of buying things online. I'm very old school because my dad
Hmm.
was like that. So I actually just recently started ordering those sponges online.
Okay, so you're like the reverse from from the typical consumer who has got to pare back on the online shopping, especially post COVID.
Yeah, during COVID, I had a really, I mean, I had an easy time saving money because I didn't like to online shop, but I had a really hard time. Like when I went out, I was like, oh my God, buy all this stuff.
COVID was such a weird period.
Oh, yeah.
How do you stay informed about the sustainability practices of different brands or companies? So how do you do that research? Is it a quick thing? I'm looking for, do you have any resources to share, or what's your, like, you scan the website? How do you feel okay as a consumer, especially it's in your, like, the top part of your checklist? How do you do that research? So I'm looking for some tips so the rest of us can say, okay, how do I know? What can I do to do a, a bit of research and understand that this is not greenwashing without taking all
So
day?
yeah, yeah. So I kind of look at their Instagram. I kind of like monitor. It almost sounds like stalking. I kind of monitor their Instagram. I read their company site, like they're about. If that matches up, okay, then I move
Hmm.
on. Compare what I see in their products versus what they're saying. Um, and then I might Google reviews as well. So one of the brands I was looking at was Subset, because they were using, yeah, they were like recycling clothing. So I actually sent in some clothes and it was like $15 off. But when I looked at it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's just so expensive to buy the underwear. So I can't see myself paying like $15 for a pair of underwear. But
Hmm.
things like that, looking at where are they sourcing their materials from.
Okay. Okay. And you find this usually on just the website.
Yeah, the website, and then I'll Google like what they're saying, like, oh, we get our stuff from here, like this company or whatever.
Right. Okay. All right. Um, Now I want to ask you some questions and have you speak directly to the brands. And when I say the brands, it's, kind of like brands that you would shop at, that you would just want them to do better, or like just brands in general, from a consumer talking to a brand, a little bit of consumer discovery here. Um, what can brands in general do to better understand, first understand, it's kind of two for one, better understand and then better address the needs and preferences of sustainable consumers like yourself? So brands that are already out there, like sometimes you look at advertising campaigns and sometimes you look at products that come out and you think, what on earth? Like, what is this? Who did you ask? No one in their right mind would have recommended this. So in your opinion, what can businesses do better to figure out what you as a sustainable shopper, a sustainable consumer want?
Um, Probably finding more affordable ways to recycle clothes. Um,
Ah,
for
interesting.
Yeah, because if you can find a more affordable way to recycle clothes, like actually recycle them, don't let them go to the landfills. If you can find a more affordable way to do that and normalize refilling, I would love, love, love if I could walk into my local grocery store, refill my hand soaps, like that kind of thing, but recycling clothes would be a huge thing for me.
Okay, so general like addressing the end of life of their own products.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. Like
right, okay.
looking at that. Yeah.
Okay. So like Patagonia does that so well. They're kind of like the OGs of saying like this
Yes.
one we will repair or replace this forever. Like this is a thing that send it back in if it's broken or whatever damage, send it back in. So addressing upfront the end of life and acknowledging that their products will come to an end and then figuring out. So we talked actually to the one of the co-founders of Subset and they launched that program where they take all underwears, all sure, yeah, like all of them, and they try do either recycle and repurpose them. They are a luxury brand, or luxury-ish brand, higher price point, but they did that. They launched that pretty. I think it was 2 years ago now. I need to go listen to that particular episode again. So for you, if brands would address the end of life of their own products, that would be a big win for you.
Oh my God. Yeah. Because I even got for my shoes, I've been trying to find, oh, that's another one too. Finding like a shoe brand. Like, I recently got turned on to Rothy's,
Okay.
um, because it's recycled materials for the shoes. And I didn't realize you could send the shoes back in to be recycled. I was like, oh my God. I saw that on their site. I was so excited. The only thing is, I got plantar fasciitis because
Oh
they were
dear.
flat shoes. But if they could, yeah, if they could make like shoes with good arch support, like, out of recycled materials, that would be great.
That is the big one. Shoes. All right, so we're gonna look for some good recommendations of sustainable shoe brands. If anybody out there knows any, which one did you just say? Did you say Rothy?
Rothy's, yeah.
Rothy's. Got it. If anybody else has any other recommendations of good sustainable shoe brands, this is a recommendation we need. Anything else that you think brands should be doing?
Um, oh gosh. Yeah, just maybe, yeah, maybe just looking at what chemicals you're putting in and stuff like that. How long is it going to stay in the land? How does it affect? Of course, for me, I'm like, how does it affect the reefs? Because I've seen the effects of it from when I was little. Before we used to have a lot of fish. Now it's like, oh God, where's all the fish?
Yes, yeah, it's insane when you can see in your lifetime the change, the effect of pollution and climate change. Like that's yeah, that's very terrifying. I myself am in a little bit of a crusade against protecting my family against microplastics. The more I read about this, the more I'm like, oh my God. Um, and just breaking down, you mentioned chemicals, like what happens when I heat this thing up that's supposed to be microwave safe, but like what the heck? Like what happens? That goes in the food, like what happens? So I'm on a little bit of a crusade to protect my family from ingesting too many microplastics.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And my son's like, "Oh my God, mom, calm down." I'm like, "No, no, no, no. I'm looking out for your long-term health here. Okay, you're gonna thank me."
Yeah, completely. All right. Is there anything else before we close here that you would like to say to other folks? A lot of our listeners, in terms of our audience of shoppers, are just starting their sustainability journey. A lot of folks that we've heard from, especially when we started the community, were like parents whose kids were school age, um, and who were asking about. They were learning about climate change. They were asking about things that they could do, and the parents were like, "Okay, I need to start folding more sustainability measures into my family's daily life." So they were, I would say, towards the beginning of their sustainability journey. Anything that you could say to those guys, to those folks, because you're further along.
Oh, okay. Yeah. With that, when you're just starting, don't feel like you have to like do it all at once, because you want it to be sustainable, right? You want it to be like something you can make it a lifelong practice and be an example for your kids. So you could just start with something as simple as recycling your glass jars and using it, repurposing it in your kitchen. Um, and you can make it look nice, recycled like materials and stuff, and just put it on top, like wrapped fabrics, um, that kind of thing, or even like little jute rope, like label holder thing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one. And because you are further along in your journey, what are some of your goals that you have for yourself on your sustainability journey? Where's your next like milestone? What are you reaching towards?
Um, my next goal is to get all of my clothes to be from sustainable sources. Um,
Mm.
so yeah, I wish Kumana Activewear would make like all of my clothes, but she only makes activewear.
Well, if you're like me, post-COVID, that is activewear is your entire wardrobe. That is my entire wardrobe these days.
That's awesome. Yeah, but just taking it slow, taking it easy because you don't want to overwhelm yourself, right? You don't want
That's
to
a
make it
good
a
point.
stressful thing. Yeah.
Yes, and that your sustainability journey needs to be sustainable as well. That's a very good quote. I think I'm going to use that.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Jamie, thank you so much for jumping on here and sharing a bit about your sustainability journey. You gave us a lot of good recommendations too. So I'm going to try to link as many of those in the show notes. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. Have a great day.
You too. And for everybody else, we'll see you on V1.